Hey, how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Moody Talk Sports. And it is Thursday, y'all, which means we made it to another day of football. It's been a great week for sports. We've had playoff baseball. There's been some great games there. Monday night, we had the great Kansas City Jacksonville game. That was awesome. It's been a good week for sports. I hope that continues tonight. Now, on paper, this might not look like an exciting game. We have the Philadelphia Eagles going into the New York Giants. Now, this is a divisional game. Those are always nitty and gritty and tough. But there's also a lot of negativity here. And I hate to be that guy. I hate to be Mr. Negative. I don't like to be. I like to be Mr. Positive. But the thing is, let's start with the Eagles, right? The Eagles are a team I've been very critical of over the last few weeks, especially this week in particular. I moved them down quite a bit on the top 10 list. At this point, I wonder if they even should be there. I think it's just their record keeping them there. But here's some realities that no one's really talking about, or at least the shows I watch don't talk about it. When it comes to defense, Philadelphia is 14th in passing defense. That's not bad. It's middle of the pack, right? I mean, you can get away with that. They're 22nd in rushing defense. They're one of the worst in the league. One of the 10 worst in the league. I mean, that's not great, right? Now, you might be saying, okay, Nick, well, they're winning with their offense. Jalen Hurts managing the games. Yeah, 29th in passing offense, 23rd in rushing offense. The best part of this team, other than its special teams, because special teams is pretty good, I'm not going to lie. They've had some blocked punts. It's been crazy. That's really, in fact, actually, you could make an argument that the Eagles would have 2 more losses if it wasn't for blocked punts or blocked kicks. So that's a big deal. I mean, don't get me wrong. Wins are wins. I respect it. But when your best attribute out of your offense and your defense is that you have a 14th best passing defense, I don't know. I mean, is Philadelphia really as good as everyone lets on? I've been talking for weeks about how I need to see more, and I haven't seen more. They just blew a game to Denver, 18 points in the fourth quarter. It feels like there's so much game management there. And there's also this element, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but last year, the year before, when teams would play the Chiefs, they'd play them scared. And that's a real thing, believe it or not. If you watch the games, you would watch even some of the most really gutsy teams that would play Kansas City. They just wouldn't be that gutsy. They were so scared because they're like, oh, the game's close. We might scramage a win. Here, just kneel it. We'll go to overtime. You can't play these teams that way. You have to play not scared. There's one guy I know who's not afraid to play scared, and that's Detroit. Yeah, that's Dan Campbell. And they beat Kansas City in the first week a couple years ago because they played not scared. They played balls to the wall. That's why they did it. So that's the thing is if you're a team in the NFL right now facing the Eagles, you just got to pretend, go classic. Imagine they're in their underwear, Don't be afraid of them. There's no reason to be. They're not a great team. And that's not me saying that. That's the stats. That's the stats saying that. They're not good. I know they have 4 wins, but remember, there was a period a few years ago where Pittsburgh went 11-0, and everybody just kept saying, they don't look that good. They don't look that good. The stats aren't that good. They proceeded to lose like 5 or 6 in a row and got knocked out of the playoffs before, that first game win in the playoffs and got blown out. It happens. Sometimes you can scrape wins together. Sometimes other teams lose, right? Sometimes you don't win. Sometimes other teams lose. So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of the Eagles, but first of all, let's talk about the line, 7.5. I'm taking the 7.5 points. It's a divisional game. I know Giants aren't good. I don't know if Jaxon Dart's the answer. I think they should start Jameis Winston. I think he gives you more big play, like down the field. I think Jaxon Dart right now is learning, still not quite ready yet, maybe a little premature on getting him in there. I think it's a lot of running and just kind of a baby Jalen Hurts, if you will, but beginning stages, very beginning stages. Jalen is the peak of what that can be, that role. I can rush a little, I can throw a little, but I'm really smart. I think that's the kind of prototype he is, but baby stages compared to one of the best to ever do it. So we're talking night and day. I'm taking the 7.5 points because I think this is going to be relatively low scoring, 24-21, 24-17, somewhere in there. I just don't think it's going to be a blowout because I don't think the Eagles have the ability to blow anybody out. I just don't. They haven't so far. So why would I believe that? I think 7.5 is way too many for a divisional game against a team that hasn't blown anybody out and should have 3 losses, arguably. So when it comes to what I think is going to happen tonight, well, both teams do not really have that great of defenses. Both teams really don't have that good of offenses. I think the Eagles are a better team. I do think they end up winning by a touchdown, but I do expect New York to keep it close with them being at home. I think there's an advantage there. But then the question is, what if Philly loses? And I'm not going to touch on that because I'm not a big what if guy. I hate when everyone starts talking about like, well, what if, what? We can sit here and play the what if game all day. But I just kind of want you to keep that in mind as we lead up to tonight. What would happen if Philadelphia, lost this game? It's interesting. So what I'm going to take for my 3 big bets is I'm actually going to go with Skattebo over 48.5 rushing yards. Now, rookie running backs a lot of the time have to build up. We saw this with Ashton Genty. They start out not great, and it usually takes them 5 or 6 games to really get the swing of things. I think that's going to be the same here. He started to look good. The averages have started getting better, and Philly, like I said, has one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. I think the Giants are going to want to control the game, control the ball, control the clock. So I think they're going to run him as much as possible. I think we could see another 25 carries like we did last week. Or maybe it was the previous week. I think it was last week. But if we see that again, absolutely, over 48's nothing. I think that's completely doable. You rush him 20 times, he'll average at least 3 yards a carry. There you go. That's easy money. The second one I'm taking is Saquon over 16.5 receiving yards. Now, the last 2 weeks, he's done both of these. He's done it over for 2 weeks in a row, and he's done it for more than half the games of the season. I think that with the Giants' defensive line, defensive pressure, I think Jalen's going to have to dump the ball out in the flat a little bit. So Saquon's the kind of guy that if he catches one pass out of the backfield, it could go for 12, 13 yards. So he's only got to catch really 2 passes, 3 passes for this to work. I think he does it tonight. Then, I struggle with the over-under. I'll be real with you. I hate the over-under. I almost don't even want to pick it, but I'll be nice. I want to be fair. I'm going to go with the over 40.5 because really what you have to ask yourself is, okay, what's worst? Both teams' offenses or both teams' defenses? I think that the defenses are a little worse overall, and so I think that the Eagles have the ability to put points up. I think they could put 24, 30 points up, depending on what happens. I think the Giants are a team that could possibly do the same. I think they could put up 20, 21, and so I am going to go with the over, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's under. I wouldn't. If this ended up being like a 17-14 game, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to go ahead and go with my gut and go with the over. So that's my 3 big bets. That's my pick for tonight. Love to know what you guys think, but I think this is going to be closer than a lot of people. If you're going into this game thinking blowout, think again. The Philadelphia Eagles don't blow anybody out. They just don't. In fact, let me just pull this up for you real quick because this will maybe be eye-opening. I don't know. Maybe not. But if you look at their games so far this season, they lost by 4. They lost by 8. 7, excuse me. They lost by 7, they won by 7. That was on the blocked field goal from the Rams. So, that should have been a loss. So, again, the blowing, that's the point here. They won by 3 against the Chiefs. They won by 4 against the Cowboys. They won by 6 against the Buccaneers. A late pick helped that. The blocked punt also helped that earlier in the game. They just don't blow teams out. So that's my picks. Guys, I will see you tomorrow for the college picks. I'll see you then.